Hey, hello teachers. All right, so this week the students will be doing word problems for the first time, and I'm referring to our primary one kids. Well, I say first time, right? What it means is an introduction, right, to drawing bar models. So this is a very important lesson, and I hope that we can have some form of standardization in terms of how we teach students to draw bar models and to understand, right, to analyze a question. Yeah, and modus operandi is that every question needs to, rather the students need to draw bar models for every question, right? Any homework assigned, they need to draw that, right? So that's the basic requirement. Okay, so one of the things that you should take note is for this week, there are actually two worksheets, right? The first one is on subtraction with renaming. I believe it's 3 out of 3. So I'll suggest that you leave that one to the end of the class, right? If there's time after going through solving word problems, which is this worksheet, okay, you may then want to, go on to the previous worksheet, the one on subtraction with renaming. Do take note that subtraction with renaming has some difficult questions. All right, so if you have time, it'll be good for you to go through some of the questions with them. Otherwise, please do not assign the entire thing right to them as homework because they may find it challenging to do. Okay, so back to today's topic on solving one-step addition word problems. Generally, right, take note, there are two different kinds of word problem that students will be learning, or two different kind of questions. Okay, one is what we call comparative. The students may not understand the word comparative, right? So you might want to use the two bars method, right? Or rather two bar models, getting them to draw two bar models. And then the other one is just single bar. So one of the things that you need to show students, right, is you need to emphasize or rather teach them when to draw two bars and when to just draw one bar. So one of the keywords in the question is this, right? When you see more, okay, that means that they need to draw two bars. And by the way, right, for P1, they're not drawing bars yet. So they're actually drawing the number of sweets or number of bicycles or number of candies regarding the question. But generally, that's what it means, right? When you see more, it means that you need to draw two, I will just use bars so that you understand what I'm saying, right? So if you look at this question, John has 9 sweets, Stella has 5 more sweets than John. So what that means, right, is they need to draw two bars, right? So one for John and one for Stella, right? And the way that we get them to draw the model, right, is we do it step by step, right? Sentence by sentence. Okay, so always draw the first sentence first, right? If there's enough information, usually there's a number there. So John has 9 sweets, right? Can simply ask them to draw a circle to represent sweets and not to draw the exact sweets itself, because it's very challenging, right, to draw the sweets. So let's see, draw 9, right? I'm not making space here, right? So that's not good, enough space here, but you get the idea, right? So that's 9, okay? And then after that, right, they have drawn the first sentence, the second sentence, Stella has 5 more sweets than John, all right? So they need to be able to draw 5 more. So in order to draw 5 more, they need to draw the 9 first, and make sure that they're aligned, right? So that you see, it's aligned, so that's easier for them to compare, right? Align the sweets, all right? Make sure you do that, and then 5 more. I'm drawing out of, I hope you all can see this, right? So it is out of a page, right? Hope you can see that, right? So that's 5 more. How many sweets does Stella have? So this is the 5 more. Remember to get them to indicate so they can see that this is 5 more than John, right? And the question mark, how many sweets does Stella have? How many sweets? So this is their first time. It is going to be very challenging for them. Make sure that when you model for them, right, they draw it on the spot as well. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples, right? I think we can work along the ways. So that's the first question, right? You might want to use the first question, right, to demonstrate, right? But it's already provided here as well. Although I find that when you actually get them draw it, they learn, right? So it's up to you, right? You may just briefly describe what is going on here first, and then, the next question, right, you can describe it, okay? So you'll notice that the first few questions, the guided practice, they are all scaffolded, which is fine. All right, get them to do all these scaffolded questions first. When I say scaffolded, means they don't really have to draw it, right? But do explain to them, right, why this is drawn that way. Okay, so if you could look at this one here, these questions, right, take note, get them to see that there are no words like more or less in there. And because there's no more or less, you only draw one bar. So you notice that? So that's how we should get them to differentiate. All right, and test them from time to time. Right, so for example, when you move on to the second question under guided practice, right, ask them, okay, is there a more or less there in the word question or in the word problem, right? Is it more, 5 erasers more, 5 erasers fewer, right? So if there are no more or less in there, right, that means that it's a 1 bar, right? You draw it as a 1 bar. Okay, so please take note that you mention these to students. So after that, you can get them to do an independent practice, right? I think question 1 should get them to do, right? Again, highlight to them, is there a more or less word in there? No more or less, then it's just 1 bar, right? Still scaffolded, they don't have to draw. All right, so all these are scaffolded. So I think 1, if they can do 1 on their own independently, right? 2 can be assigned as homework, right? So you don't have to do it, right? 3 or if they can do 1, you might just want to get them to do another one, number 2, right? And then number 3 as homework, okay, and so on. Now, number 4, you need to go through with them. Okay, why? Because it has the more word here, right? So as you go through the question with them, get them read the question, ask them, is the word more in there, right? 7 more, right? That means that they have to compare, right? Now they have to compare, which means they have to draw a comparative model, or at least they have to draw 2 bars, right? 2 bars, 2 rows. Okay, highlight this to them. All right, so same thing, draw sentence by sentence. Let's look at the first sentence. Jenny has 5 pencils. So Jenny, 5 pencils, right? Use circle to represent. And then Sam has 7 more, right? So get them to draw 5 first and then 7 more, okay? And important for them to look at what the question is asking. How many pencils does Sam have? So they should do it. So they may struggle with this, right? So more practice is required, that's fine, which is why we only intended for 1 workbook for this lesson. Again, if let's say they take more time to do this book and cannot get to the second book, which is on subtraction with renaming, that is fine, right? Just leave that book alone, right? If they can't do this, okay? All right, so yep, they can practice again, or you can get them to do as homework. Now, for number 6, okay, this is a very important, this is a turning point, right? So this is where you might want to get them to different ways. If your class is very ready, right, you can just assign them to do this question and watch how they draw it, and you guide them along. All right, if your class is not as ready, right, then you might want to get them to model together with you, right? But don't draw and then get them to copy, right? That's the worst thing for any class, any learning class, right? Because you've already drawn early on and got them to copy. Here, you might want to get them to suggest to you how you might draw it on the whiteboard, for example. Okay, so again, the things that you should look out for is there's no more or less here, right? So students should know that they should be drawing only 1 row and not stack. I think the term here is use stack. Okay, so make sure that they are able to do this on their own. Okay, and then 7, all right? If let's say 6 you demonstrated, 7 you really need to get them to do on their own to see that, and this will show that they've really understood what needs to be done, right? So, but it is actually okay for you to highlight to them whether this one, or rather bring to their attention, right? Whether there's a more or less word in there, okay? And number 8, right, definitely needs to be completed in class because this is a more question, right? This is a comparison question. So they need to draw 2 rows or what they call stack, right? So make sure that they are able to complete this on their own, right? So just remember the way that we do this is not to read the question, then draw the model, right? Read the question. After that, we draw the model step by step, sentence by sentence. And this is the strategy that we're going to use consistently across all levels, right? Even for P2, P3, P4, it's what we get students to do, right? Draw the model sentence by sentence. Okay, this is fewer, right? So you might want to do question 9 with them because it's a bit different, right? Fiona uses some apples to make pies. She uses 9 fewer apples to make juice than pies. This is a bit challenging because here they may not be able to draw it step by step. So one thing you can do, right, is you can tell them to draw the one with the bigger number first, right? So for example, if Fiona uses 14 apples to make juice, right, 14 is bigger than 9, so they draw 14 bigger, right? And after that, right, they draw 9 fewer, right? So maybe just to give a demonstrate, right? I'll just do a quick demonstration. Okay, so this is, let's see, this is Fiona, right? But the whole thing is more about apples. Okay, so let's see, 14 apples to make juice, right? So juice, 14 apples, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, and it says for pies, Fiona used 9 fewer. So 9 fewer, they need to count from the back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they have to write it like that, right? 9 fewer. Okay, how many apples do they make? Does she make, or does she use to make pies? So that's a question mark. Okay, so I foresee that this question can be a bit challenging for them. Do work through with them, right? Okay, all the best. Have fun teaching this topic. It's all right if they don't get it the first time. Okay, if you look at the word problems here, there's more to go. It's only 1 out of 4, right? There's 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 4. So spend more time on this, right? And it'll be beneficial for them in the long run. Okay, that's it for my sharing today. Okay, have fun. See you.